All right, we are live. Hello. Whoa. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name's Brogan. Today, we're doing another simple single stream. And I think my subconscious just read all the green we are currently going through right now. Because we've had a good little bounce after the really depressing moment we had with Bitcoin and everything as a whole. But obviously, we're going to get into that. Hopefully, you're all doing brilliantly. Hopefully, today has been a brilliant day for you. Obviously, if you're just waking up, this is the morning. I know some people have different time zones. If you're just waking up, hopefully you had a brilliant sleep. You know, get that coffee, get that stuff, get that breakfast, and have a great day after the stream, obviously. But before we get into anything, please check the descriptions out because we have useful links down there. Obviously, the main one's Telegram. If you're not in Telegram already, that is mainly where me and Mike are all the time. That is where all the community is who are properly involved in Crypto Warehouse. So if you do want to go, chat to people, chat to us, anything like that, come along there. And if you do become a member, or if you are someone who is a prized person in our community, you'll be added to the Crypto OG group, which is a extra special, high tier, awesome group with only the best of the best can join. Only you have to go through a whole trial. You have to go. Basically, it's like being a monk on a mountain. You have to go through all that trial and tribulation, and you get into the Crypto Warehouse OG group, which is the greatest, crypto group in the entirety of crypto as a whole. So, if you do want to go join that, obviously details in the Telegram. Just go join the Telegram. That's the main thing I'm trying to get across here. And other than that, while you're checking out the description, the like button is right there. It's not too far away from your mouse. Might as well click it. You're there anyway. And if you think you enjoy our content, you want to see more of us, do hit the subscribe or follow button depending on where you are. Have let's get into the percentages. Before, actually, though, I actually don't have any of the chats open. So let me open up everything because it was a bit of a crazy start to this stream. I don't have any of the chats open. I don't have I have YouTube open. I don't have my notepad open with all the coins I'm going to be covering, additional from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, obviously. Okay, there we go. Bring that over there. Open up my notepad. And I actually do already have, for the first time in a while, actually, because people just don't come in the group and suggest or ask for coins. We do have a coin to look at after Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, which I believe the name is, if I go to the OG group, is MAV USDT. So then go to MAV USDT, boom, there. Minimize everything there, zoom in. There we go, move that around. Say hello to everyone. What's going on? You know what? It feels a good day today, especially tomorrow as well. Obviously, big speaking, that whole combination of things. Trump is speaking tomorrow, which is gonna be huge. I don't know the exact time, but we are gonna be keeping up to date on that. I believe it's tomorrow. You know what? I might even, if we don't do a Saturday stream, I might even do an extra special Saturday stream just to see. Because again, Bitcoin conference, I don't know when he's speaking. I don't know if I'm going to be asleep by then or whatever. But if there's something going on and I can stream for it, I will stream for it. But that's going to be huge for Bitcoin. That is, obviously, we can get into what I think. And basically, today and tomorrow kind of feel like a turning point. Obviously, we're not going to change the entirety of crypto just by this one speech. But it is going to be huge. And it might even bring us out into a whole load of movements. It might be the domino effect. It might hit the first domino over for us to actually start to be coming into a really high area for crypto. My aircon's just turned off next to me and it's boiling. So if I complain about that, don't blame me. TARS protocol, absolutely. Oh yeah, no, you already suggested it. Yeah, I didn't have time, sorry. I'll look at TARS. Is that a coin? Is that a meme coin? Or are you just calling me? You're just calling me that? I'm gonna assume the former. I'm going to assume the former, and I hope you're not just being mean to me, because if you are being mean to me, it's not very nice, okay? It's not very nice. Anyway, let's look at some percentages, though, before I get into Bitcoin. Obviously, the way we do it here, obviously, if you're just new and you're suggesting a coin, also, as well, if you're in a chat which is moving fast, there's a certain chat, obviously, I don't like to call names or anything, but there's a lot of spam there, there's a lot of chat there, and if I don't see it, I'll read out the coins when I do see them, so you know that I've seen them. But we normally do Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana first, and then we go on to the coins, the main coins, which people suggest. So we will be going through that first. So Bitcoin 24-hour 4.76% removed. Was he calling me one, or is it a meme coin or something? I assume it's not a meme coin, but again, you don't know these days. Anyway, so 4.8% on the 24-hour, pretty good. I must say. But again, obviously, it makes sense, though. Again, this is kind of expected with the whole deal which happened. Again, obviously, we had that smaller expanding triangle within our range, which kind of broke us down. Obviously, I'll show it. I did remove it from the chart because we've already played it through, but we bounced off the trend as we broke it, and then obviously we came all the way down to our previous support, and then kind of, have retracted now back up towards 67625. Obviously, I've also been doing some research on different things and different methodologies of TA, so I do want to try and incorporate some of that into this stream today, and hopefully try and explain some other movements based on different sort of TA I've seen. But anyway, Ethereum 3264, obviously, unfortunately, a bit lower, but again, it's still a very similar amount of movements up on the 24-hour, which is good. Very similar as a whole. 0.3% move up on the 1% is pretty, or 1 hour, sorry, is pretty good. Obviously, I know we've just done the 1 hour, but a 0.3% move in like a couple minutes is pretty nice. But you can see obviously 7 days a bit unfortunate. But Solana, $182, 9.23% up in 24 hour. Obviously, this is Solana's the big dog. Okay, as I always talk about on many of my streams, how it moves kind of outside of the scope of coins. I guarantee, or almost guarantee, that when we go onto the Solana chart, it's going to be at some sort of order block I drew like 3 months ago, because Solana is just beautiful when it comes to order blocks. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not surprised by 182. I recognize that price anyway, so I reckon we're at some sort of support or resistance point. Probably support or resistance point, sorry, in this rate. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Just want to look at some percentages, see how we're doing. I will now move on to the chart. So it's a bit messy. That's okay, though. Whose chart isn't messy at the end of the day, If you don't have a messy chart, I don't know. Anyway, so this is the 1 hour. We have a new order block, which we're trying to print above now. Obviously, we have a lot of resistance here and there, but again, new hour, new prints, pretty nice. Obviously, money flow kind of coming in, view up kind of coming up. Obviously, it's a bit shaky, so it looks like we're kind of in a high position. Again, we also came from a decent high over here, and pretty overbought. But again, nonetheless, this started to come down, but we only hovered. And do you know why? Again, as I always mention, Market Cipher is a directional tool. It is not a positional tool. And what do we have? Huge support over here. Again, if I drag this order block across, lo and behold, we have an order block here. So, no surprise there to me. Again, we also had a range. Again, I'm sorry. Order blocks, they're hard because they do cause a lot of like mess on the chart. Like if I have an order block up, it's this big grey area, and when I have like 4 or 5 of them on different areas, it's just so messy. But yeah, I don't know what can I do. So you can see, obviously we had the upper end and lower end, so it makes sense. It might have been a high position. However, the lowest we could have seen was this support point, 66, 889, 67, 875, whatever it is, which we've also bounced off here. Actually, I might delete this support point because the order block handles it for me. There we go. So you can see, good support point again. Coming down, we had the red dot like here. Obviously, I know coming down from a high position easily switches this the momentum negative. But what you normally want to pay attention to is obviously the VWAP, and because obviously that kind of plants the seeds. Once you have a enough consecutive movement negative, that'll start to flip everything. Basically, it's just a very convenient way of kind of having everything converge onto one another. So they are separate data sources. However, they do move akin to each other, which is nice. So obviously, when you have consecutive movement for the VWAP, you can see here consecutive negative movement. You can see even though our price is heavily coming up, you can see how much our price is moving down, or VWAP is coming down. Obviously, again, this is volume weighted average price, so this does go based off the price. However, I assume the higher we fall or the higher we go, and the sort of movement we have, it does read based on volume if we should be high or low. And if we're coming down and we're going up, it kind of makes sense in that regard. If it's unsustainable movement and we have not enough volume for this movement, it must mean there's not a lot of sell going on. Again, I'm not getting into it. It's too much. But regardless, this does kind of have planting the seeds towards more negative movement as we go along. But again, we're going higher and higher. And as I get into this Bitcoin chart, I'll show you why I think we're going a bit higher or a bit lower, depending. But we can see VWAP start to come down. This was still coming up, but it's still, again, under the ideology of planting the seeds. We also started to become really overbought. But again, where did we come from? We came from a really, really low position. Like, look at this. Order block down here. Obviously, we went below. Down here, there's probably some sort of support down here. If you shimmy across, there's probably some, resistance here. You can see this is technically engulfing because of the consecutive movement. You can see Boom's support here. Again, obviously wicking down to these lower order blocks, and then obviously this wick all the way down to here to the bottom of the order block. But again, you don't really have, there's like cascading order block breakage. And if I drew every single sort of, potential order block, the whole chart would be grey. So I'm not going to be drawing every single one. But I first in chat moved Ninja. Wait, so because he misspelled the word, so I actually don't know. Whatever, don't matter. But again, like I said, we came from a really low position, so it does make sense that we should have come up from here. Looking at the volume, the volume's pretty interesting. You can see okay, it's quite hard to see. It's quite thin on especially when I'm zoomed out. Obviously, a good amount of volume movement. As we go lower, we can see the volumes decreasing. That makes sense. Obviously, you're just trying to look for anomalies in the volume, just to see if you're gonna have some sort of reversal or not. And you can see, obviously, this has somewhat here. You can see the bodies are getting bigger. However, our volume is also decreasing. So there's some potential. Obviously, when you're seeing here, okay, cool. This is a bit weird for the volume to be acting like this. And we're not really moving. Like, if our volume is decreasing, however, our price is increasing, this is some sort of anomaly. The movement of the price should line up with how the volume reacts. And again, the confluence with this, obviously, we have big order block here. Makes sense that it's some sort of support point. We should be looking towards having some indication that we should either reflect off this or have enough volume to bring us down and then have a bit of a short coming down to the next support point. But obviously, lo and behold, we had some anomalies here and we kind of crabbed here. So interesting time to look for some sort of long. Obviously, as you can see here, money flow starting to come up here as we have this coming down. So interesting aspect here. Obviously bringing us up now onwards towards where we are at 67,659. So something, a different way of reading the chart, I suppose. But that's kind of the history, not history, but that's the past of Bitcoin, of what we've been through so far. And again, the deleted chart I had, or the deleted sort of TA, I had the I believe it was like somewhere. Was it here? It was somewhere here. We had like this expanding triangle. Oh no, it wasn't here. It was a bit smaller than this actually. I think it was somewhere here. But on the low, I think I drew it on the lower time frames. But we had something like this with the chart, and then we kind of came up to it, kind of bounced, tried to come back above it, but then came below, came up again, bounced off it. Obviously having our big retractment, so it makes sense. I'm not surprised by this movement. We did have two expanding triangles, one the 4 hour, which didn't really play through because we didn't print properly, and then one on the lower time frames, which did was respected quite well. So there's no surprise there. I did talk about it. Stream before last or stream before last, whatever it was, when we found the expanding triangle, it was quite concerning, as I was mentioning at the time, when we have all this, potentially negative, negative chart patterns. Like, okay, cool, we should be looking for some sort of, either trading the trend, okay, cool, even though we're an expanding triangle, it is still a positive movement. You've got higher highs and, technically, higher lows, but in a different angle, whatever. So you could be trading the trend, however, it is somewhat riskier. You do want to kind of trade the higher, what the actual outcome of the chart pattern is, because that's where the most of the money is going to be. You don't want to. You can trade the trend, but it's like, okay, cool, boom, 1.32%, boom, okay, coming down 1.24. This was a good movement, 2%. However, the movement down as a response, coming back to test the trend line. Let's say you sold here. Obviously, at first you'd be down 0.7%. But over the general movement, coming to maybe the midpoint of this order block, where you want to get out, just a recommendation, you can see 4.62%, or 4.26%, sorry. So, again, that's way more profit than you would get if you to risk trading the trend in something which brings you down and you're longing or shorting. But, if you're aware of this trend, and again, chart patterns are never 100%, nothing's ever really 100% whenever you press space on TradingView, it just takes you just away. Anyway, so again, the chart patterns are never 100% accurate all the time. They can just break out. You can break out the trends. There are macro events which could cause us to break out of these, trends and these chart patterns, and then it'll just never play through. But, if you're someone who's confident in the chart pattern, you could long or short, let's say, from the highest point going from the top trend line, and that would give you even more profit. But, you can trade the small trends. And again, I suppose, at the end of the day, if you're looking at the higher time frames and you can recognize what sort of movement we're in, if you've got a bull trend line and we're having higher highs and higher lows and we're kind of in a bullish sentiment, then you could take that along with you as you go into a lower time frame. So you can trade these trends, but obviously be risky. But that is a whole conversation. It happens normally we have a clean space Yeah, I mean, again, it's just it is. Well, actually, what do you mean? We have a clean space. Yeah, I mean, I mean, if you mean in terms of the amount of resistance support we had, it does get annoying, especially with the 4-hour expand triangle we had, which like goes from like down here all the way to here, and it kind of brings us all the way up, like over here. I think it's something like this. There you go. You can see like this range. Obviously it's wrong now because we broke out of it because it didn't kind of follow through. But I mean, to be fair, as soon as it started to print negatively or not as the trend should have followed, mainly this sort of movement going from 19th, 20th July all the way towards the 23rd, we never came back to test this line, which was obviously a good thing at the time if you're longing and whatnot and you're trying to trade upwards. Great, cool. However, if we don't come back down to it, we don't follow through with the chop hand, so it doesn't exist. Obviously, luckily we had the mini one within here bringing us like this. But anyway, nonetheless, I've talked about the past too much now. Let's go on to where we're going to, hopefully, for Bitcoin. Now, importantly, I don't want to say anything too set in stone because we do have what's going on Saturday, which is going to be very important for the price. Now, the expectation of, okay, cool, let's say, we're doing, currently what we're doing right now, obviously, had boom and boom coming down, now we've come up a bit, like this, we've done something like this, okay, cool. The scenario we are in is, in this location. What are we going to do? Well, if we could read just based off the charts, which I'm going to do, and then we can kind of filter that based on what we think could happen due to what's happening on Saturday. So, we can see, okay, we're doing this. Now, if we just pay attention to what happened on Saturday, we could be in this range, we could be a bit higher, we could be a bit lower, but let's say we're in this range still. If everyone expects it to go up, and again, this sort of news, this is bullish news. Again, if you don't know, it's about the reserve and how much money they're going to be putting into Bitcoin, or the America as a whole is going to be putting into Bitcoin. It's going to be huge. And, it would be a no-brainer to long Bitcoin when this happens. However, whenever you start to trade sort of news, it does get a bit funny. And there's probably going to be some sort of scenario where we start to go up because, oh my God, everyone's getting in. Trump just said this, 800,000, this, that, the other, 200,000, whatever we have. I think we're holding like 210 right now. We're going to hold an extra 800,000 Bitcoin. Boom, boom, what's going on? Oh my God, we're pumping all the way to 70K, 70,500. Guess what happens? Bang, we come down. Potentially. I'm not saying this is set in stone, this is potentially, because this happens all the time. This happens all the time when you have positive news like this. When you'll start to go up, you'll go down, and then you'll continue. There'll always be a squeeze just to get everyone out because everyone's getting too riled up, and then you get this big old short, and then you long. So you could watch out for that. I'd be careful. My recommendation always happens. I just press a random button, and it'll just take me nowhere. It'll just take me to a random coin. But my recommendation would be, if you're going to long, either maybe long in a scenario we're in right now, where we're not like low, but depending on what could happen within Saturday, especially as we come up to the news before it happens, that is going to be when Bitcoin and the market's going to be a bit shaky. You could long beforehand, maybe on a bit of a lower leverage if you are longing, or just buy Bitcoin in general and just hold it out because eventually, no matter what we do, it's kind of like a black box, If you ever use a scenario, like if you have an input and output, you need to figure out what's in the middle. We don't need to figure out what's in the middle unless you want to do a higher leverage trading and you want to take some longs and shorts over a faster period of time. We've had our movement. Let's say we're here right now doing this. We have our big old black box. We don't know what's going on, and then we come into it, and then we come out of it over here. And we start to come up. So the resultant in this news is going to be very positive for Bitcoin. However, the middle area of this movement can lead to potentially, big short, big long, because of the fact we have this big news, and this happens all the time. There's something to expect with positive news like this. Again, I don't think we're going to come down to like 60K or anything like this. Really negative. I think it's going to be a small short just to get the general amount of people out of trades, because that's what they're long, they're waiting for, especially the market makers. Obviously. Some people talk about market makers, they use different words, they try and make it sound all magical, but it is just basically, whenever you're trading, okay, this is like simple stuff, like this is the basics of like any sort of market, not even just like crypto, but it's like, for you to buy something, someone has to sell it, so there's always going to be some sort of other entity going against you just so you can get these trades in. So there are going to be situations where there's going to be an amount of data which these guys are going to know, which you don't know. So you need to kind of be wary that these people are going to be looking for, okay, everyone's longing, I can get a bunch of liquidity if I short this. And if I put shorts as people are longing and then bring the price down towards this liquidity, and then, boom, all this liquidity comes into the market, and then you continue the higher price movement. So we've got to be careful of something like that happening. And, this happens all the time. Any sort of data in normal, not crypto markets and normal markets, I'm not saying crypto isn't affected by normal data, but normal data, you'll see the price will do that. It'll just, like, the result of the news, it'll be positive. So eventually you will be positive. However, the risk in it is you're, a lot of the time you're going to have one of these movements where you just come down and then just absolutely pump. So got to be careful about that. Just letting you guys know. And the second part to this is the fact that what I'm going to be saying right now, take it with a pinch of salt or whatever, just be careful with it, because things will be changing on Saturday. And I do plan to, if I'm not on a stream, plan to at least be in the Telegram when this sort of stuff is happening, so we can kind of keep up to date on what's going on. But anyway, this is the scenario we are. So where could I actually see numerically us going just based off the charts? Well, we're having a bit of a funny scenario with Mark Alpha, which makes sense. I mean, considering where we've been and where we've gone, this has been very, as Mike in his video would have mentioned, especially with the ETF. He claims glory that he called it, but he said we're either going to go up or down. So I know if I said something like that, I'd feel like a fraud. So I know or not a fraud, but I feel like I'd be cheating the system a bit if I said if we're going to go up, we're going to go here. If we go down, we go here, because you're not really giving it. But again, this is something external from price action, so you can't really predict exactly how the market's going to interact with this sort of data. But nonetheless, he did call we should be going down. We did go down. But this was some sort of movement which was caused by something which wasn't directly affected by price or data. So, we had this big movement down. So it makes sense we had this movement up. So it's very hard to be reading indicators when you're having these sorts of movements, because data can't predict this. This isn't data for the charts to read. This is external. This is external planned sort of price action, which isn't sort of predictable within the charts. So you just can't really look at it like that. But again, it was a big offset, and we're back to where we were. So this makes sense. I'm glad we are where we are, because we were here, we were in this range, boom, 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 doing our thing. And then we had this big old dump externally. I'm not saying externally, because the chart still had the movement downwards. But what I'm saying is the results or the cause of this effect was something which you couldn't really chart out. But again, obviously, we did have our expanding triangle. So I suppose if you didn't have anything else on the chart, you'd maybe be shorting this. So, fair enough, I guess. But again, the result, you can't really change the fact that the result or the cause of this was something a bit external, which then means, okay, if we come down externally, we'll probably just come back up to where we were to recover, which, again, brilliant. This is what normally happens anyway. So I'm glad we've come back to this price. So we can kind of finish off, you can kind of start where we left off. And obviously we were coming down, but we're kind of in the range in between 68.2 coming towards 66.680 as the lowest. So we're kind of in that range now. I could expect us to continue to come upwards towards 68.2, breaking some of these order blocks. Again, these aren't really, even like this one, for example, I don't even know if this is an order block. It might just be a range. But these are, if they are order blocks, a lot of them are on shorter time frames, so it shouldn't be too much difficulty for us to start to break up above some of these resistance points or support points, or areas where you could buy or sell, and sort of come up. Especially here, you can see 67, 150 should be good support. Again, you can see we flipped it. Good test for a couple hours of support. Brilliant. Obviously, we had a big wick down. But again, that actually brought us to the other midline of the bottom. So you can tell that this general range, you can see from when we've continued, this general range between 67 kind of free and down towards 67.8 is going to be good support. So we can kind of imprint that in our mind. Okay, cool. That is where our support should roughly be if worst comes to worst. So, actually, the one thing I'm going to show is there's a thing called vector candles. Again, obviously, this isn't something I've made. But it does, the importance of reading them is because it does give you a good outline onto rapid movements, which should be filled in. So there's, obviously if you're trading, there's a whole ideology of, obviously I know if you do like, I think it's like smart money concepts or ICT, whatever it is, this whole like fair value gap thing. I've had a look at it, I've looked at it, I don't really incorporate it, but the idea is you have this like rapid movement, and you normally come back to it to fill in some more orders before you continue your movement. That kind of process is similar to what this shows. So I'm gonna show it. This isn't going to be too long. This isn't going to be long in the slightest. But actually, I don't know if I'm on the right time frame for this. I might be though. I think this is the range anyway. So these lines show you the red and the green are basically they're really high volume candles. They're prices or candles or price movement. I should probably say actually price movement where we had quite rapid volume increase or decrease depending in comparison to the previous candles we had. So these are good areas where we had a significant amount of buy, let's say, where there wasn't really a lot going on, where we kind of skipped past a lot of potential liquidity in the market. And what tends to happen is you normally, not always, obviously nothing's ever always in the charts, but you normally try to come back to these areas, not necessarily filling them entirely, but filling them enough to try and come back and test them and gather more liquidity, I suppose the ideology is. But instead of it just being a fair value gap where you kind of draw from the wicks and you don't really have any data backing up, this is a similar process. However, there's more data backing you up because this is genuine volume comparison data over the last, I believe it's 10 candles. So this is actual data you go off. And what normally happens is you come back to these areas. On the lower time frames, it works. It does work lovely on most time frames. Lower time frames, it's even better because you do see it a lot faster. Obviously, in this case, we do have this outstanding, but again, different time frames, different exchanges give you different areas. You can see we have one here, but the main area I looked at, and I sent it in the Telegram, I think it ranged, if I go to the 8 hour, I believe it was this range. Okay, it wasn't this range. Which one was it? Actually, let me go to the Telegram, I'll find the range. Because I drew it and it looked pretty nice to me. Anyway, it was basically 68.50 towards 71k, which is high. This is on the higher time frame anyway. So that is the general range we had. You can see it here, yeah, it's 68.50 coming up towards, obviously 71. But the main candle is about 69.72. So that is a general area where we are, I mean, even above, like we have a lot of candles where we had rapid price movement in comparison to the volume where we've just absolutely dumped in the market. Again, this was a resultant of bouncing off the top range of our weekly bull flag, which is something I think we're going to break out of. Hopefully either this bounce or next bounce or this movement or next movement. Which I'm pretty excited for. Obviously, if we pump, could Trump cause us to break out of our bull flag? That would be brilliant. But there's potential for it. No, there is absolutely potential. But my point is, again, it's kind of like a game of ping pong. You get the next liquidity, you continue your movement. You get the other liquidity, and you continue your other movement. So you might come up to where all these cells are, and then you'll come down the market to the next point of either support or wherever it is, or the next point where there was outstanding orders, which could be filled for extra liquidity. Now, again, not every single one of these ranges should be filled. But when you see something like this, where you've got a lot of candles and there's a lot of potential outstanding orders up here, which you can get into, this is why I'm kind of interested in the fact that we could be going up a bit more, regardless of if we're having Saturday or not, because we have potential of coming in towards 68,500 and upwards maybe towards 69.70, coming up towards here, potentially grabbing some more before we maybe come back down. But even if we don't do this within normal price action, I think that the positive news should bring us up. But again, we could have this. We could, within the rest of today, coming into tomorrow, we could still have this this big old candle. We had a bunch of volume outstanding, and then we have the big old news with Bitcoin in America. And then what might happen is we might come down towards 66.5, try and fill some more orders down here, and then we pump. So going back to the idea that when we have this sort of news, we could have the opposite movement, the black box idea, where we come into this news-based price action, then we move in the certain direction we may move. I don't know why I said that was so weird. Move into a certain direction we may move, and then the result will be positive as per 800,000, whatever Bitcoin is being bought in the reserve, whatever it is. So what could happen? Looking at it numerically, we could come towards 66.2, 66.5, wherever it may be here, and then pump up towards the higher areas, because there's so much up here. We could come towards 70,800, 900, and then come back towards some sort of support. If you look back, maybe this order block down here, it's 69,850, something like that. But I do think, again, the results, reiterating the same point, I think the result of Saturday is going to be positive completely. There's no doubt about it. But anyway, let me hide it. Again, this sort of ideology of VEX candles and volume, what I do say on my streams a lot, and I've done it again. What I say in my Telegram, I do like to kind of look at different ways of looking at the charts. and take different aspects of these sorts of methods and then use them for myself in my own method. I think that is probably some of the best ways of trying to find your own strategy. Maybe not. Obviously, some people say, "Oh, you need your edge or whatever." Well, these sort of strategies, you kind of cater it towards yourself. So you might try and find different tools within these strategies by other people, and you think once you use it and you see it works, okay, cool. I recognize this as something which is really good to do TA with, and I love these because of this and this. And then you incorporate it with your own strategy. So you just start to do this, and you start to grab different tools you can use for your own strategy. So I'm just testing out again. I've not spent like a month looking at this and really understanding it, but it's just something potentially. Again, I think it'd be quite hard to be wrong by the fact that I think we are going to be going up with this news, because again, if anyone tells you it comes towards like 60k because of this news, man, don't listen to them. Not financial advice though. Again, none of this is financial advice. Please make sure you're trading based on your own your own TA, your own mind. Don't make this about okay, cool, this guy said this, so I'm going to trade it wholeheartedly. Make sure it is your own judgment. And again, nothing anyone ever says is going to be right 100% of the time. If they claim that they're right 100% of the time, they're probably hiding something from you. No one is ever going to be 100% right. That is incredibly difficult to do, unless they've done 2 trades or 3 trades and they're right 3 times. Great, cool, great for them. But if there's someone who spent quite a lot of time trying to trade, the respectable traders will tell you, I got it wrong for a long period of time before I realized this, and I started to get a higher percentage win trade or win percentage. But anyway, I'm moving on. Yapping. Let's go on to Ethereum now. We spent quite a bit of time on Bitcoin, which is, I think, I'm glad we spent a bit of time because we needed to. Because Saturday's going to be big, and I think people need to understand what sort of situation we're in before we move on. So, what are we doing? Let's shimmy this across. So we had this trend line. Actually, it's pretty bad, actually. Let me shimmy it down. Okay, you know what? Whatever. I think this is a daily thing, isn't it? Yeah, it was a daily print. You can see here. This is good. So, again, Messi, I'm sorry. I need to delete these charts, mate. We had this range bring us down. This is good potential. This is really good potential. So we had this, abused, weird, sibling type of flag thing. It's got this weird, looking thing up here. It's got this really weird flag going on. It's got this really weird movement upwards. Got this really weird hoverage, and then we came into a range. Then we broke out of the range. Then we're back in the range. Then we're bouncing off the trend line. It's all going weird. What's going on? Well, obviously this is where I try and come in and explain why I drew this and why I still think it's potential. So the fact that we bounced off it is obviously nice to see. Again, obviously really nice bounce off of this midpoint. You can see this midline of this order block. I don't even know what time frame this order block's on, but nonetheless, really good bounce off there. Obviously coming back, printing above the trend line, which is the most important part, is if you print above. So what do I always say about chart patterns? Let's say if I draw on the bull flag like this. So you see, obviously, price is doing this, boom, 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 coming into the bull flag. What can happen a lot of time, and it happens more often than not. And this isn't something I made up. This is something which has existed, and you can look it up. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a breakout test. I don't know, whatever. But the general movement is you start to break out your chart pattern, and then what can happen is, and obviously this is if people start to get too rowdy and start to long here. You can wait. Obviously, this is where you need to kind of look at the situation you're in for the market and the price action, and you need to kind of judge yourself if this is something which is sustainable or something which might have some sort of retractment before we pump. Because what can happen is, if I extend this a bit, you can have sort of this movement where you I explained this a couple times before, but you can come back to the trend line before you pump. Again, this doesn't always happen, and again, sometimes you come back to the trend line and then you won't pump. Again, chart patterns are never 100% right all the time. Nothing's ever 100% right all the time. If someone tries to claim that, then hey, if something's 100% right all the time, it'll have to be a setup so specific you can only get it once a month, and then you'll get that trade all the time because it's so specific. It's such a hard-coded, locked-up strategy that it has to work, type of thing, But anyway, we've done that bounce now, so the potential is, in my humble opinion, is we could have the boom, boom, boom coming up towards our high range. So we could have both of what, obviously Mike said, I think 2,900 for Ethereum. Obviously his higher range was in the 4,000s, as I already had as well. But again, we had that whole ETF thing. You know, whenever you think something good's going to happen, something bad happens. Whenever you think something bad's going to happen, something good happens. It's just one of those things. So we had that big retractment, obviously. If you know, you know. Go watch the channel videos. Go to the YouTube. Go to Google. Go to Warehouse. You'll find it. Go look at the videos. Great video, by the way, by Mike. Just explaining his thought process through these price areas based on what the ETF could bring us, and obviously, lo and behold, what has happened. What he said, basically. So we've done what he said, but there's still potential. And again, with Bitcoin, we had a similar. Obviously, you know, Ethereum hasn't retracted as much, and this is what I was talking about when we were looking at CoinMarketCap and the percentages. It hasn't come back as much as Bitcoin has. But again, this was something, internally databased on Ethereum. It wasn't some sort of, some random coins doing this and the market's dumping, and they're all going to recover because it wasn't related to them. Similar thing with the market. In Bitcoin, if Bitcoin has a dump, the market will have a dump, but the market will normally retract pretty well because it wasn't solely focused on these coins. It was more on Bitcoin. It's the flip side now with Ethereum. Obviously, Ethereum and that whole shebang going on. Bitcoin had that dump, and now we've retracted exactly where we were before the dump, which I was looking at longs because we were in a really good scenario. Obviously, it's something you can't foresee. Obviously, you can foresee it. You can be wary of it, and you can trade it, and you'll be right. There's always going to be winners. There's always going to be losers. But it's just something where it's like it's not in the charts. That's why it's always great to make sure you know the general market, you know the general news, and where do you get the best information? Crypto Warehouse. So go over to the YouTube, go watch Mike's videos. He gives you the latest and the greatest when it comes to market news. But anyway, we've got this bounce. We could have the potential to come back up towards maybe 3,800. I don't know if that's too generous. This is the daily though, so again, this will take a long time. But again, the kickstart for this big old rocket could be the big old news. Again, if this news comes out, I think the rumors or whatever it was like 800,000. I can't remember exactly what it was. If the rumors are true and it's that positive, it's going to bring the market up. Again, it's a Bitcoin-based thing, but it's like, okay, well, if they can do it for Bitcoin, why can't they do it for Ethereum or Solana or this or that? So it will bring definitely the whole market up as a whole. I've just said the same thing twice, but it'll bring the market up. So I definitely think Saturday will definitely kickstart this sort of movement. But again, you can see the daily red dot. Again, nice movement. Even without looking at, I know hindsight's something brilliant, but even without looking at just any sort of data like ETF, you can see red dot here. You can see when you see the VWAP coming down on the daily, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It came down 7 days before we saw a red dot. If the VWAP is coming down straight for 6 days, you might want to look at having a short because, again, red dots, they're not something which print before the movement. They print as the movement's going on to show you. So you can get in safely. When there's let's say the red dot's just printed. You want to be careful because there's scenarios like this. So with Mark Cipher or any of these reimagined Mark Ciphers, they're not some magic tool. There's no magic indicator. There's attempts to be magic. Obviously, we've got this personal indicator we have on the trading group, which obviously, if I zoom out and show you, has looked pretty nice. I forgot about this. Let me delete that. But obviously, if I can show you, sell from the signal was here, the buy was here, 21%. Buy was here, the sell was here. 18% sell was here to the buy. The buy was about 10%. Obviously, the sell is here. About here. So this might not bring you as much because I think we're going to bounce, but regardless. So there's attempts for magical indicators. I'm not saying this channel signals is some magical indicator, but it is something you get as a reward for being part of the OG group. And now I am someone who makes a lot of attempts of indications. I do a lot of my personal. I was trying to make a volume-based candle approach because there was an ideology. I was reading into Anna Cooling. If anyone's read into Anna Cooling. She does a lot of volume price analysis, and she has a lot of ideologies of the volume has to match with the movement, because obviously a lot of her research was based off Wyckoff, and one of his things was, I believe it was effort and reward or whatever the name, again, effort and reward, simple, but again, there has to be equal effort versus reward. It's a uniform movement upwards in the graph. There needs to be equal effort for the equal amount of reward. So if there's a big candle which has very little volume, there is a suggestion that is anomaly in this sort of scenario, and you might want to look at what's going on there. Now, obviously, if you've got really small volume but a really big candle up, and you print with that big candle, you think, okay, cool, big movement, little volume, little buy volume. What does this say to me? That either there's no sellers or basically if there's no, because this, again, these volume bars, these are collective of buy and sell. So if there's a small volume and there's a large amount of buy in comparison to that volume, it must mean there's not a lot of sell and we're buying. So there's that sort of ideology with her. And I do make indicators for the channel, so we do have a lot which gets put into the OG group. So if you do want to join and get up to date with these new indicators we try and produce at Crypto Warehouse, then obviously come along, come to the Telegram, come join us, and then come ask. Because obviously we have some significance. I think it's still brilliant. Again, look at that white line, brilliant. Simple significance is amazing. I love it. I don't use it because my charts get really messy, and I have order blocks. For me anyway, and I can recognize these lines, I can recognize these support points and these order blocks, so I don't really use it as much because it makes the chart really messy. But you could genuinely use channel signals and simple significance, and maybe some analysis on the volume. You could genuinely do analysis on a chart without having to touch a single bit of any sort of drawing. You can just immediately look at the chart and say buy or sell. And I did some scalping with channel signals, and I was profitable every single time. Again, I know that's hypocritical, and there's just that one time you want to get out. Or you want to get out that trade, it's going to be negative because, again, I've only done a couple trades with it to make sure it worked properly. But, it is a good estimation. There are strategies which do win more than they lose. Again, go to Telegram, you'll get all information. I don't want to yap too much because I do have some coins to cover. But anyway, like I said, small amount of volume, but a really good candle up. This could suggest there's not a lot of sell, a lot of buy, that people are coming into the market and trying to buy, and there's no sell because no one wants to sell. That's a really trash way of explaining it, but you know what I mean. But yeah, anyway, that's my analysis on Ethereum based on what I already have. Again, similar what I said with Bitcoin and its movements and the black box, apply that to every coin I've looked at today because I think that is good at what's going to happen in the market. But what we can do is go into a different Ethereum just to make sure it's a bit cleaner. And then just have a little look at where we could be going. So you can see, printed this red candle. I could expect it to, have an equal movement to cover for this volume. We're on the daily, by the way, so this might be a bit too long. I might go for the 8-hour. Again, same candle. We are probably coming in to fill this this volume here. You can see big candles, and again, there's no magical indicator. These sorts of candles, where these very small, you don't really come back to draw these because there's not enough there. But these big candles, not 9 times out of 10. But again, this candle, we had this big candle. This is alarm bells. This is alarm bells. We need to get out. This, boom, and it's slowly come back to fill these. And again, this isn't something magical, whatever. Similar with this as well. Obviously, consecutive green candles. We filled this one, but we had a decent amount of outstanding right here. What do? We filled it, and now we're probably filling this. But where's next for this? It's either 2,700 down here, or it's up to here, back to where we were. Again, couple this with what might happen on Saturday, or what will happen on Saturday, sorry, and how we're moving in the market. So anyway, actually, I do want to go on the high time frame because I did see some price areas. Again, this is a decent candle. So similar with Bitcoin, how we had we had the lower, about I think it was 66k, whatever it was. We had that big candle which we saw. Again, this one isn't as perfect. The Bitcoin one, it was a big candle where we had a lot of volume, so there's potential orders there we can go back to get. Going back to the ideology of black box, obviously we're coming in, big black box, we do this whatever the hell we're doing, and then we result in a higher movement. Similar with Ethereum, I think the same process, and lo and behold, we do have a similar sort of candle. We have a very high, this one hasn't, the blue ones aren't as high as green, but we still have a high amount of volume in comparison to the previous candles, where we have buy coming up. So we could potentially come back into this area. This is pretty negative, 3,000 towards 9, basically 3,000. We could wick towards 2,950, but basically, I think 3,000, we could come back to 3,000 to test. In the process of having that Saturday movement, I don't think naturally we could do this. But again, when you have these sorts of movements, let me try and go back to show an example. Maybe on the lower time frames might be a bit better. Actually, there's not really many examples. Actually, this is pretty bad. Let me go to the one hour would be good. General, here we go. I'm trying to show an example of how it kind of ping pongs. Here it is. Okay, well here's decent. You can see outstanding over here. You can see we came back in a tiny bit more, and then we came back. Where do we come back to? Then we had this candle. We're now coming back into here and filling some of this. The next, I think we could probably come down, obviously, 3,222, 3,118. Probably come up to here, come back down to here. And it's kind of a similar thing with, higher high, higher low. If you're in a bullish trend, you're still coming back to come back to these areas where you're kind of filling these candles. So we could have this, we could have a bit of a range going, to kind of predict this maybe. We kind of have a boom, filling up this candle, probably bouncing here, coming back down, to this area, and then coming back up to the next area towards 3,300. So if you didn't have this, it would just be looking like a normal bullish trend. But again, also if you have a bullish trend and you've got this, again, this is not very good. This brings us to 2,922, which, interestingly, is actually where our orders are. Isn't that perfect? Look at that. Isn't that brilliant? Was it the daily? Yeah, here we go. Better. Here we go. Isn't that perfect? So on the lower time frames, we potentially could be printing a bullish trend, high highs, higher lows, as we fill each candle. But consequently, with making this some sort of trend, as we have a big rapid movement, it could result in a bear flag, which brings us down towards 2,900, 2,000, whatever. So if this follows through, again, this is on the 1 hour. If this follows through towards, you see, it's Friday now. This could range. Here you can see at the bottom right now on UC +2. This is Saturday. This is Saturday time. This is like 10 o'clock Saturday. This is 24 hours. So we could follow through this trend 24 hours and then print down. So that could be the result. It could have a really big wick down and then come all the way back up. Again, that is... we'll see. Again, I'm not too caught up with this. I've only really tried to incorporate this into my TA quite soon, or quite recently. So I'm not someone who is brilliant at these. There's some traders who are way better at looking at vector candles than me. I think there's a guy called Trader Geo who uses vector candles. But it resonates with me. Vector candles resonate with me because it actually is driven by a pure data source, which recognizes. And again, you can go back and look. All the candles do get filled, or most of them do. Not every single one. Again, no indicator is magical. But again, it resonates with me because it is data based by candle, so it updates really fast. It's not something which is like a trade. It's not some average moving thing which has a latent buy or sell signal, or latent reversal to a bearish trend from a bullish trend. It's not something like that. It is by candle basis analysis on the price. So it resonates with me because it's a bit faster. But anyway, that's kind of what I see for Ethereum. Similar with Bitcoin. On the higher time frames, we could come down to here. So I'd be careful. What I might do, I might wait for this trend to continue. I do want to get out of my Ethereum long, which I have, which is I think I've like, what is it again? I think I'm 60-something% up on the trade, so I want to get out of that soon. As we come into Saturday, consequently, probably wait for some sort of dump. I'd expect some sort of dump before the pump. I just like, oh, everyone's getting to longs. We dump it, liquidity, bang, up. So I could expect. I'm gonna wait for a wick, maybe some limit buy at like a really low price at 3,000, and then just see what's going on. But anyway, yeah, I'm yapping, and we're 51 minutes into the stream, so I'm going to move on to Solana and move on to the coins. So yeah, Solana, it's its own entity. Again, look, what did I say? I reckon we're going to be at some sort of order block. Lo and behold, where are we? We've ripped off order block. We're currently in the middle of order block. These are printing off the order block. Printing as resistance. If we go down here, we can see good support, resistance on this line as well. It just follows it beautifully. And interestingly, obviously, we started to break structure, and then we had the dump. You can see, boom, 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 broke it, and then obviously we're coming back at it. But again, similar with Bitcoin, we started to really not respect that trend, so it was unfortunate. But anyway, what are we doing? Let's see. Well, we could have potentially had some sort of bull flag. You can see there, and we haven't come back to test the trend line, so it could be, we are actually coming up now. So you can see if we do this, it brings us up towards $195. Hey, who am I to know? But there's potential for that, and again, Solana is its own thing. What are you saying? The green of the cameras, Blair Witch. I could change the lighting. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that. That makes it more normal. But anyway, going back to this, I popped my ear. I gulped while I blocked my nose. But again, Solana, it's its own horse. It can do its own race. It's its own entity. It's like an emo kid. It's like a grumpy teenager. It's like, no, I'm doing my own thing. you know, obviously, if it's on a family outing or if it's going on holiday somewhere, it's in the car, it's going along with the other people in the car, aka the market. It's going along, but it doesn't want to be there. It's looking out the window, it's got its phone, it's got its headset in, it doesn't really want to be there. So it might still follow the market, but it doesn't really want to. You know, it's this opposing, teenager who's like, oh, I don't want to do this. So, that's mine. I've just come up with that. I think that's quite a nice little analogy of Solana. So, you can see, obviously, the market's come up. It's coming up, but, it's not really gone up. It's gone up more percent. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this, but I'm doing it proper. It's gone up 9%. And again, obviously, if the market's going up as a whole, each coin it's not going to move up exactly 4%. But you get what I'm saying. Especially with this as well. It's like, Bitcoin's in expanding triangle, boom, what it's doing. Solana's been going up the entire time. And then we had a bit of a movement down and it's going up. So, in terms of, Ethereum and Bitcoin and the market having that retractment, because of obviously ETF poisoning the market and having that movement downwards, you can see we did have the movement downwards. But it's like, I guess I'll do it. I guess I'll come have dinner, but I don't want to because I'm going up the entire time. So anyway, whatever. That's an analogy for you there. Actually, let me shimmy this properly. Whoops. There we go. Even more accurately. So you can see, actually, is it good? Yeah, there we go. You see, bounce there, bounce there. A bit of a movement downwards there. Not too structural, but that's okay. See, bounce. Forget the pen. Boom, 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 boom. Really good. Just a decent bull flag at the end of the day. And when you have this just decent, solid bull flag, you're just coming up. It's like having a really old car which has been around for 20 years. It's just like it runs off just the fuel. You just put some fuel in it, it'll blow it up, and it'll just go. It's been alive for 17 years. It keeps on going. That type of thing. It's like, this is a bull flag. It's going down. Now it's coming up. Doesn't need no breakout test, anything like that. Guess what? We're coming up above support. We're going. Let's go. What are we doing? We've got a green dot, money flow coming in, VWAP's coming up. Starting to arc though. Could expect if we have a couple more consecutive hours, maybe towards the morning of Saturday, coming into maybe the evening of Saturday. Could have a bit of retractment as we come up though. Do you know what I've forgotten to do? I've forgotten to read Binance. I'm sorry, guys. You know what? Let's see. Has anyone even said anything in the chat, or is it just spam? I've got a bunch of thumbs ups, which is nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. No one's speaking. Someone said fast. Am I going too fast? Sorry. How can I claim? Don't claim them, they're all spam. Says hello? Hello? Yeah, this is just trash. We're listening. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to... There we go. Someone actually said something. I think we're going higher on price. I agree. Yes, I do too. I think we're going higher. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a bull flag here. And again, similar with Bitcoin as well. I've already given my piece on why I think we might have a retractment. Obviously, the black box, there's going to be results. There's going to be an input and an output. And whatever happens in the middle, I don't care. Because guess what? I'm getting in when we're going up. That's all I care about. But yeah, no, I agree. I think we go up too. I think in general, I think we do have a bit more of a push. Again, Bitcoin was trying to go... Yeah, the BAM is... Yeah, exactly. The spam is too much too fast. Exactly. It's just ridiculous. That's why I pretty much only exclusively look at YouTube. I occasionally come in to go to the Binance chat just to see if anyone's there. But the majority of the time, it is just a lot of spam. But what I mainly do, I just look at the YouTube chat because that is where there's no spam there. But again, if I randomly catch a comment, I'll read it out, obviously. But yeah, if no one's there. But yeah, no, again, I do think we come up more. I think in general, obviously Bitcoin was trying to print and come up above some resistance points. Ethereum has bounced off the trend line from the that weird looking flag thing. So that is probably coming up. Again, that was on the daily, so still some recommendation of daily moving upwards. And again, on the daily, you've got 24 hours in a day. You've got 24 hourly candles in a day. So you're going to have potential for a movement down before you move up. And the daily will be none the wiser. So if the daily's going up, we could, over the long term, we're going to be going up. And I think we are. I definitely think we are because we've got a lot of outstanding. We saw it on the chart. We've got a lot of stuff outstanding on 3,800 in that rough area. So I do think we come up to there. And I think similar with Bitcoin with 69k, 69.5 going up towards 70k. Similar with Ethereum on 3,800. I think this big news will push us up to there. I think we need to get to them. So I think what could happen is, I think in general the market, I think it'll pump at first. It'll get towards 3,800 maybe. It'll get towards these high areas. We might dump towards the next point, and then we'll continue upwards. That could be completely wrong. Don't take my word for that. But that's potential. Again, it's hard to predict what's happening with the price. The only way you can really go about it is if you just, kind of think about how is the news going to affect the price, and then you kind of remove the fodder. So he's like, okay, cool. I know this, 800,000 Bitcoin being bought into a reserve. This is going to bring the price so much up. Okay, so what is that going to do with Bitcoin? Obviously, it's going to bring it up. Bitcoin, market, boom, it's going to bring the market up. So, like I said, like I already said on Bitcoin, you could just trade, okay, cool, low leverage, try and get in low, maybe try and get in, maybe not now, because I think we can come a bit lower before we go up again, in terms of the news. But again, to be fair, we could just pump, we could just not even come down, because it's that positive. But hey, who am I to know? It's hard. It's something that there's a lot of potential. There's going to be a lot of variety in the price movement from this news. But again, like I just said, my main point is, as long as you know what the result of the news is going to be, don't really worry too much. Maybe even wait. Maybe wait for the whole move to finish, in terms of if it is a bit wobbly, and then long when the price starts to go up again. I know that's like you're longing when the price is going up, and if you're shorting when the price is going down, type of thing, But it's going to be one of these news things which are really going to bring us up in the price. So you can long when we've already gone up a tiny bit, and ignore the chance of getting liquidated if you do a long or short, and actually get decent profit still. So anyway, someone said beautiful voice. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's very nice. Feels like a boring summer. What do you mean? What, for Solana? Here we go. Oh, you've been Pakistan. Oh, what's going on? Glad you could join. Everything looks in the way up at the moment. Bitcoin touching 60k. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've actually gone over a lot about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, if you've not been here, maybe when the stream ends, go a little bit back. Maybe like 10 minutes back into the stream, 20 minutes back. Whenever I started talking about Bitcoin, and just have a little look at what I said, because it was quite a lot of talking about Bitcoin. But what I do want to do is look at the volume for Solana. So we do have this bull flag, which suggests we should be continuing coming up. What I want to see is some more confidence on that and see what's going on. But if we had a dump in the market due to the news before we pump, I want to see where we might come to. So I guess we'll just have a look. And good, this is actually good, strong. This is good volume right here. You can see this was the biggest candle, second biggest, and these continue to go up. The volume is really responsive. So this is obviously going back to the ideology of Wyckoff and effort should equal reward. If you're in a normal movement, which doesn't look like it might dump anytime soon, you should see normal volume movement as a response to the price. Actually, let me just look. Yeah, this is good as well. You can see the candle body of this had less volume, but our volume increased. Yeah, our candle body printed lower. So a good suggestion of a reversal there, or an anomaly even. But again, that's a good hindsight, whatever. But anyway. I'm gonna go to a fresh chart for Solana. I don't want all this mess. Oh, nice little trend line there. Okay, cool. Anyway, let's see what sort of volume we have. So again, similar with. Okay, I don't think we come that low. Yeah, screw that. We do have a lot of outstanding on all the higher time frames there. But again, if we go to like 30-minute, we might be able to see. Again, this is too small for us to really properly come back to it for any sort of reason. I don't really reckon we do that. But again, even after we go to 50-minute, again, you can see big green. We completely filled it before we came up. And again, as we came to fill the green, big purple. What happens? We came up to fill the purple. Where are we bouncing off? The top of the purple. It is quite well structured. And this is why I like it. It seems like we're also having, in comparison to the previous sells, a decent amount of volume. But obviously we are coming down now, so I don't reckon we're not going to 171. Don't really think that. I just think we're kind of continuing upwards. Again, we do have ranges, like I said, with the end of the bull flag in the range of 192 to 196. But this obviously this is on 15 minutes. This is like rapid. We're probably going to come immediately fill this. Probably going to come right back up to 182, 71. You can see we're coming up right now. Good amount of red dot. Good volume down. Again, this is 15 minutes. Don't care. Let's go to 4 hour again. So yeah, going back to the same, this is a very similar situation to pretty much every other coin. See right now, we're even trying to fill this purple of missing volume, going up towards 186, which might, if we print up here to finish this, probably coming up to finish that. Again, interesting as well here. Some of these big candles you can print to the middle of them. Yeah, again, even here for example, formed it, printed to the middle, formed this, printed to the middle. So again, similar with the ideology of fair value gap and whatnot. You do want to pay attention to when there's a lot of the same sort of TA, but it's different names. The reason I don't really like fair value gaps is I probably use them wrong, but there's a fair value gap and an inverse fair value gap, which just suggests to me once you draw this fair value gap, you have to wait until it comes towards it and then watch if it inverts it. Again, it could be profitable. I don't really care though. But this is more my style. It is actually backed up by some sort of data form. But anyway, going back, I'm not yapping about that. Going back to this, we have again 195 was our price area for the end of the bull flag. We have a range in between about $200-ish towards 195 of outstanding rapid movement downwards in the price. So I definitely think, again, coming up a bit, probably maybe coming towards. This is really high movement though. I mean, again, we can come down 9% in 24 hours. What's to say we can't wick down? Okay, like recently, what's a high wick been, or what a low wick? Like this, in 8 hours we wick down 3.86. So. Or here, for example, obviously this was only we dumped. This is actually quite a while ago, wasn't it? Actually, I'm not going to look at that. Here, even of recent, wick down 2.84% in 8 hours. So we can wick, again, when there's influence by external news-based, stuff, it can lead to higher than average movements if you wick on that. So there's potential we could have like a little bit of a boom bounce, wick down to fill it. And then come up towards the higher areas, and then come on and do our fancy thing up here, and just absolutely pump the market. Obviously, if I draw rectangle here, you can see we've got order block there, so probably coming up towards 204 at the end, which is actually where the end of the candle comes to, which is about 202. So I could reckon this sort of area we could see definitely as a pump for the market. But I think as a whole, long term, this will bring us up a lot, not just in the day, but as a whole. So. I think, within the day or the day or two, we could see definitely $200 as either a wick or a print. But I think as a whole, it'll bring the market up. Probably either coming up to here and then probably print. But as we come up, we could probably print high volume candles upwards, which could leave some orders behind. So as we come towards $200, we could see maybe $190 have a high area of potential liquidity, which we could come back down to and then continue upwards. So yeah, there's potential for that. Obviously, if you look at Market Cypher though, go back to the 4 hour possibly though. What sort of situation we're in for like maybe the daily? You can see we're very high. We're very high for obviously got this red dot VWAP or the money flow RSI. Money flow is coming in though. Obviously, again, you're on the daily at this point. You're on the daily, so money flow is king at the end of the day. You can see when the money flow starts to arc. It starts from about here. Again, money flow's still coming up. We're still going up at the end of the day, so here we are. But again, the daily could suggest downwards movement. But again, what do I always say? Market Cypher is directional. Always try and pay attention to where support and resistance is or whatnot. We could probably just bring up some significance and just see what's going on. Boom, what do we got? What do we have? $175 towards 179. So lowest I see daily, 175, 179. But similar with these, we could wick down towards this area. Again, probably printing, maybe coming towards 160. Actually, I don't even think that, to be honest. But, in the daily, 4% down wick daily. 4.7. What about this one? 5%. What about this wick down here? 30. We can wick. Again, here, you see, we can wick a high percentage in a day. So, hey, but anyway, yeah, that's what I think. Again, Silver Significance, brilliant tool. If you want any, we've got Silver Significance, we've got channel signals, which are kind of like a buy and sell thing. I have this vector count. Now, I don't want to, obviously, none of these indicators, I haven't sold any of them. Maybe in the future, if I produce another sort of strategy, I could sell the indicator. But all these indicators, again, none of them, I don't sell any of them. These aren't, I mean, well, to be fair, if you're in the OG, you get them. And if to become an OG, it costs like $3. So technically, they cost money. But if you're an OG, And because it's for the OGs. Again, you can pay to be part of the membership, which is called the OGs, because this is obviously the start of something brilliant for Crypto Warehouse. But I have given it away to people. I believe, I don't know, I can't remember, I can't pick out any names in particular, but there are occasions when people in the YouTube chat, I'll just send the link to the indicator, so you don't have to pay for anything to have these indicators. I can give them away. Sometimes we do a giveaway, but obviously if you're in the YouTube chat and you're just someone who's nice and you're just someone who's there and part of the community and you're just in the streams comment, I might just send a link to all the indicators. So this Vector Candles and Zones, I'm not taking any kind of credit for this. I believe there's a guy called Traders Reality who kind of came up with this indicator. I don't know if he invented that sort of volume-based analysis on the candles. I don't know, but I know this code and sort of this ideology and this sort of formula derives from his main thing. But his main thing has like 40 million indicators, and I didn't want any of them. I just wanted the volume candles. So I made a custom one which just had the Vector candles. So if you do want any of these indicators, come to Telegram, maybe come ask, or just be in the YouTube chat. And if you're just nice, I might just send it. Yeah, there's actually a lot of chat. I'll have a look at now. But again, channel signals. Again, I'm not saying this is some magical indicator, but see buy signal. You're up to 23%. Sell signal from here to the buy, you'd be up 9%. Sell signal to the buy. This one only a bit though. You might be 4.28%, but not everything's great. Sell signal to the buy, you'd be up 18%. Again, there are some areas are actually bad. This you'll have to pay attention to. And again, you're on a high time frame. Low suggestion. This is where the stuff gets serious. Look at this. Buy suggest. Again, this is the daily though. Buy suggestion to the sell. Obviously, okay, this is a bit extreme, but nonetheless, obviously sell to the buy here is actually pretty bad. But again, there's multiple sensitivities here. Sell to the buy, boom, 4%. Buy to the sell, 12%. Sell to the buy to the sell. Again, it's an indicator. It's not gonna get everything right all the time. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Go away. Don't bully me. I think that's it for Solana. Really, I've given my piece. I've said $165 towards $200, that sort of range. I'm going to move on now. I do need to move on because we have been streaming for an hour and 10 minutes. I don't mind going a bit over. If everyone's here, then whatever. But I am going to be covering the coins. So I'm going to read the YouTube chat just to see what is going on. Actually, I'm going to read your Binance chat as well, just to see what everyone's saying. While I drink some water, actually. Again, there's just no one. There's no real chat. I mean, it's hard to see with all this spam. It's ridiculous. The problem is, there's no moderation tools. There's no sort of banning people. There's nothing. It is literally the worst system. Horrible. But we streamed there anyway. Okay, there's nothing there. I can't see anything. So let's go to YouTube. So let's see what everyone's saying on YouTube. Let me bring the whole chat up so I can properly see what's going on. Let me zoom in on this. Okay, so what we have in these chat, I can't scroll up. Oh my god. Okay, let me go to YouTube chat somewhere else. Oh, it's fixed itself. Brilliant. Okay, so what's going on YouTube? What have I missed? Okay, so big move incoming. Yeah, I think so. Boring summer. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I suppose so. So far, I mean, again, like we've had big movements, but where has it resulted us in the same position we've been in the entire time? So I can agree with that. August is going to be very interesting. Yeah, I definitely think so. I think going into September, October time, I think it's going to be huge. I think it's definitely going to be very huge. Again, election time is going to be very huge as well. So there's definitely a lot of months coming up, which are going to be huge. Just in general for the market, definitely. Casper, absolutely. Let me add that to the list. I haven't looked at Casper in a while. Actually, I did some trading on it. It was going pretty well, but I haven't done it in a while. Okay, it's broken again. Okay, never mind. Casper, yeah, 70k. If you think that jumps... If you think that jump from 64k to 69k is huge, and I have no comments. Who says it? Oh... Yeah, but now I see a huge movement. Is there some rivalry going on in the chat? I mean, still, it was a good move. It was needed though. That's the thing. Like, there's some movements where it's like, okay, we're pumping, we're doing this, and there's some ones where it's like we pump because we need this because we've had a previous movement of this crazy movement. Okay, so I said we'll either see a huge move, either 50k or 80k. Interesting, because I actually agree with you, but I agree with you, 5k difference, because we have either the bottom, we either don't break out, based on all what's going on, we don't break out, and we don't see 85k, which is where my bull flag brings us to. Obviously, there's some scenarios where it brought us to 90k, basically 85 to 90k range. I'd probably go on the former and go for 85k. And then if we don't pump and we bounce off of the top of the bull flag to have another bounce of the range over the weeks, then it actually brings us probably towards about 55k as well. Or no, actually no, it might be 50k. So again, I actually agree with you on both sides pretty much because of my range. 140k Bitcoin would be so sad. During I'm bluish, I think mean bullish. And we'll hit 85k eventually, but after summer when traders are back from their holiday. And obviously 150k. Yeah, no, yeah. Again, that's the thing. It's like I think we'll definitely see 85k. But I think what will come in not history, but what will come in general, not just price movement, but in probably macro news, will probably help to bring us up to these prices. Now, I think I've seen some people say 105k. I think, I don't know who said it, but there's some people who reckon even 100k for this movement upwards. But I definitely think we'll have. I definitely think we don't. I mean, I don't think we'll go to 85k and then come down to 50k and then have that. We're definitely going to see some sort of situation up there. Definitely, and I think. Looking at volume will definitely help for that. I definitely think there'll be a lot of candles where we'll see huge volume, which we'll miss out. Probably coming to these candles, getting some more liquidity as we come up. But I think, in general, from that bounce off of the bottom of the 54k, we've been in a good bull trend. Again, obviously, if we're in a bull flag, we're going to have a high and low trend. But if we do break out, we'll continue that bull trend. So I definitely think we will continue to have high highs, obviously higher lows. But yeah, no, I agree, especially when there's a huge amount of volume coming into the market. After that sort of holiday, it'd be huge. I read something that was saying the bearish scenario for Bitcoin on 2050. What? You know what? You know what? I'm not reading that. I'll worry about 2050 when it gets there. Can you do a recap on Bitcoin if possible? I just joined the stream right now. Yeah, what I'll do, I'll cover these coins and I'll have a really quick look over what I talked about at the start of the stream. Oh, from Fidelity, right, okay. Yeah, I mean, potentially, but I'll worry about it when we get there. Yeah, Task Pro, can you do math? Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, don't worry, I'm onto the coins now. Duco, is that a coin you want me to cover? The Trump speech pump is already priced in. Some crypto influencers, or some crypto influencer said it is. What do you think? What would possibly be a sell the news? Be a sell news event. What do you? Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Again, this is actually you basically said what I've said in my Bitcoin area. Now I will answer that question when we get back to Bitcoin in a minute, because I'll go over these coins decently fast, so then we can go back to Bitcoin, have a quick look again, and finish up. I don't really care how long I stream for, so I'll just take my time. We'll get there when we get there. But, you know, yeah, I'll answer. I answered pretty much all those questions in the Bitcoin, but I'll answer them again when we get back to them. But I'm looking at MAV first because it was actually suggested before the stream started. So have a look at MAV USDT. I'll just do here, let's say. Okay, so hopefully this is the right coin. How much history do we have? Okay, we've got a decent amount, a good amount of great amount of history. This is daily. Let's just look at the daily quickly, just to see if we've got any order blocks, anything, just to signify or just to cement if we've got where our support and resistance is and whatnot. This could be pretty good. Let's just draw it across. What I like to do, I like to estimate if there's an order block, a good order block or not, and then I'll draw it onto the screen. This will probably be good. Over here, obviously we break it down a bit lower. This is good as well. It's probably be good support. You can see we come across here. This is actually be really, where we are right now might be good support because of the fact that of how we didn't have wicks down back into it. Again, within 3,044 minutes, if we wick down to 19 cent, then it'll be bad. So we've got support basically where we are now, which is good, which makes sense. Again, if we've got these general areas which is of buy, then it'll make sense that we're going to wick down to there. Maybe weekly really quickly just to see what's going on. Again, really good. Okay, there we go. We've got something here and here as well, actually. So, boom, printing above it. Obviously, wick below it, but we're trying to print above. Resistance at the top line, though, as you can see, roughly about here. So, a decent respect of there. But again, this is the weekly. So, we're going to have a lot of movement within the weekly, which would mean we would actually get out of these areas. This will probably be good as well. I could expect, because we didn't have too many wicks. You can see we printed below, bounced off it here, or printed at least off it here, wicked up to the top. So good resistance there on the weekly anyway. Go back to the daily. We'll see if we can find any mid-high points, maybe up here, to find some sort of like resistance. This could be good. You can see there, boom there, boom there. Okay, so that could be a decent area. Probably got something back here. This could be a good engulfing right here. So we can come into it, see resistance, resistance off top line, resistance off top line, support, 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 resistance, resistance, resistance. So actually, we could probably delete this old one. Okay, so good. So we've got our areas. I know I've taken a long time for that. So good. We've got a decent amount of support and/or resistance. Obviously, we've got different areas. Again, like you can recognize probably somewhere here, we've got some sort of support, probably leading to resistance, but I'm not going to draw anything. What we can do is use the power of simple significance to give us all of these areas. Now, this actually backs up pretty much all of my... That is beautiful. Isn't that just beautiful? This backs up every single aspect of my order block. It backs up the top line, backs up the mid line, and it backs up the bottom line. So, really good order block. You can see that's going to be a strong order block. Again, this is the weekly, so... It makes sense, but there's not enough data on the weekly. So let's go to the 4 hour and see what's going on. So we've got our higher time frame, daily-ish order blocks. We've got a good, strong area here, a decent support down here. Obviously, as we break down, we can see it's now resistance, and we've now just pretty much printed this support as we come up now. So use these using simple significance, we can find where our previous highs and lows are, and the 2% padding of it. So we don't really have to draw too much, which is good. So, what can we see? Well, we've got a good amount. We've got divergence, good amount of bullish divergence on the oscillators for Market Cipher B going towards what I can see. Lower lows and then higher, whatever the hell's on the oscillator, bring us up now really, really nicely. Could we see anything else? We see like double bottom coming down here. Good double bottom, bring us to the support point. This is like actually a really good support point, which actually perfectly has this order block here. So good amount, a good confidence on the order block. So I could expect this neckline was probably pretty good. This actually looks like a decent order block. Maybe here, you can see. No wicks down back into the order block. See, support there, support. Boom, broke through it. Resistance, 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 resistance here. So we've got a range there. Okay, this is high. This is a high time frame, so I'm actually going to hide this for now because I don't like it. It's making my chart really messy. Hide. There we go. So now we can recognize where we are. So, what sort of situation are we in? Well, did we have anything like an order block previously? Like this, bringing us probably from this candle. You can see the bounce there. If I shoot this across, where does it bring us? It brings us actually quite low to 15. I don't think this will happen because, again, these are pretty directional. Again, similar with how I talk about Market Cipher, a lot of bull flags and bear flags, they can be stopped out by good support and resistance. So it seems like we might have already had the bounce off there, which is good. Probably coming up now. Money flow coming up as well as a momentum. You can see the V-ups starting to arc a bit, but it might not be anything too concerning. So it could look like we're having movement upwards continuously. We're not really in a scenario where we could like print red dot and actually dump completely. We could continue to go upwards, maybe slow down a bit, and maybe use some sort of support over here. But I don't really think so. I think we continue to go upwards, maybe try and test this order block here continuously. Let me zoom out a bit. I kind of just want to look at if we've got any or like other longer divergences on Market Cipher, just to see if we've got something good going for us where we are. We don't really seem to have anything here. Maybe like nothing there either. Like, nothing there either. So we don't really have any divergence, which is obviously fine, because divergence is actually pretty strong when you look at wave trend and the price, which is good. It seems like we're in a pretty like sticky situation. You know, we've kind of got good support where we are. You see, we flipped it, good wick there. So hopefully we print above it, because obviously that would make sense. But if we didn't use that as our support, we can still see we've got this line, resistance, support. So probably something within about 21 cent as support here. Obviously, and now we've got resistance at 21.5 or 21.5. You know, recent print on the 4 hour. So really stuck range. Really don't like that. However, we are pretty low. We don't have a door bottom. It'd be lovely if we had a door bottom. You could see like if we had a thing like that, because it would just like absolutely tear us up. Probably back up towards these areas up here. But obviously, understanding what's going on in the market potentially on Saturday, that could pump us up. If I open up vector candles and go on a bit of a higher time frame, could we see anything? Well, it seems like really nicely we've filled this candle. Do we have any rate? Well, it's all going to be above us. We've got this one up here coming back to here potentially. Well, you can also see on the daily, pretty nice movement down, bounce off here, coming up here, wick to here. So potentially it was a bounce. We could have a bit of a really big double bottom on MAV, which would be really nice. You can see money flow is really coming down, but it's arcing. VWAP's really rapidly coming upwards. So we have some consecutive movement upwards for the VWAP. This could give us an anchor trigger wave on the daily, which is a pretty bullish sign for Market Cypher. We are at a good support point. Obviously, we've got our order blocks down here. This is a really good low point. Lowest we've seen in a bit, actually. I hope it's not one of these things. I can't remember what the exact movement is, but where it does like that and it never moves again. But again, I don't really know too much about the project, though, to be fair. Okay, if we zoom back in, though, potentially for that double bottom, the money flow starting to arc. Again, like I said, if we have some consecutive prints, if we have, maybe coming into Sunday, if we have more VWAP, we could have our print on the momentum, hopefully bringing us back up towards these areas. So this could be a good area to long, potentially, obviously not financial advice. The risk is, though, is if we had something like a really high time frame, like bull flag, or bear flag, sorry. So if we actually started to do this, and then bounced off maybe like resistance line, and then came back down, it could really be, run the risk. But again, back at this support point, probably stopping us there. And again, this is a higher time frame order block. So you can see, like, since like we kind of bounced here, so probably having the flag from there, let's say it brought us down from this price point, it brings us to 11.39, which is ridiculously low for this coin. So I'd hope that wouldn't happen, but hey, I don't know. I'm gonna focus more on the side of this bull flag, or the double bottom. Sorry, bringing us back up, hopefully towards these areas. Is this not an area? Because this actually hasn't had a lot of volume there, which is interesting. It's normally these areas. Again, we've already kind of visited this potential volume area, and we've already bounced off. So we don't really have a lot of volume above us. There's nothing really below us. So nothing in the regards of we need to necessarily come up, which is like crucial for us. Maybe unless we've got something on here, which we kind of do. We kind of have this purple one bringing us towards these cents here, which actually would also coincide with where our double bottom may bring us towards this area. So I could expect a movement upwards for MAV. I really actually could, as long as the project isn't some crap projects. And I haven't done research into the main project itself. But we are pretty down as a whole in this market. What does channel signal say, though? Because this would help a lot. Let me not do high density, because that does not help anybody. Okay, so this is actually really inconsistent. We had sell, buy, sell, so we have really good downtrend, but we're in a really good area where we could potentially come up. But again, really tight range only really brings us towards this like 23 towards 27. If I go to daily, though, again, we're in the range again. You see buy, sell, could have a buy, brings us back up towards 32, 42, which is where the double bottom on the lower time frame could bring us to. So, we are in, these are called the Keltner bands. These are to help if you are, potentially having some potentially have some sort of reversal. These would be the good areas to have reversal in. So we are in that range, number one. We are having a bit of difficulty in between. Again, obviously we've already done our TA on the order blocks, and I've already hidden that big order block, which actually spanned this main area. So we've got this range here, which we're kind of bouncing in between. Looks like we're kind of having a bit of difficulty here. But like I said, we're in a good position to have a reversal. Now, if we continued this structure of, buy, sell, and buy, sell, if we had a buy again, it could bring us up to 32. Like we said on the 4 hour, which had the double bottom, also up to 32. If I go back to the 4 hour to show you. Obviously, this is zooming in on the fact. But 32, you can see the movement down is pretty good. You see here, this was a bounce. These are small bounces. These aren't really nothing. But this was like a considerable stop in the negative movement. Like, obviously, each movement was about this, but these are tiny movements. You can see, like, the general trend you can see, like, is down. But in this regard, this was down, this was a stop, and then it was down again. So I would reckon it would be this sort of area to come to, which also, like I said, coincided with this sort of missing volume, which we could be attracted to. I don't really believe it's anything considerable. But where is that price area? Well, it is actually roughly in the range of 32. So I could expect a 32 cent. If we do start to bump, we could. Oh yeah, we are. Damn, I've spent a long time on this. To be fair, this was actually a bit of a difficult chart. It's a bit messy. It's one of these ones where it's really, really like sharp. So this is actually a bit of a challenging chart, which is nice. But anyway, yeah, that's my analysis. Again, if we go on the downside, I don't really think there's much downside. We've not really got much to go. And obviously, I also like looking at the response off of support. And you can see, bounce off this support, really big moving upwards. Bounce off support, really big moving upwards. Bounce off support, really big moving upwards. So, again, going off the idea of bouncing off support, really good resistance, or really good support. Bounce off support, hopefully have a good response, which brings us up in the market. So, let me hide this actually just so I can see a bit better. Yeah, so I do think we have this double bottom, boom, 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 coming up back towards 32 cent. Hopefully, how much is that? That's a crazy move upwards. I think obviously we are due a moving upwards in MAV. It is a bit of a difficult one. We had a double. To be fair, we had a double top here, and it brought us even lower. So we could have one of these ones where it actually brings us a bit higher. But you can even see from this where this area was, we still have if we shimmy this back, it even is support back here. So I reckon we could have a bit of a trapment back up to there. And again, back on the 4 hour, momentum's pretty good. But again, we are technically above the neutral mark. So we could expect not so much pumping going on right now. Maybe breaking up this order block, then using it as support, and then continuing. But again, on the shorter time frames, if you look at it, there'll probably be some resistance at each level up here. Here, going up towards here. There's going to be these little areas where we bounce, where we're probably going to have a bit of a bounce, boom, 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 like that. So it's going to take some time. But I think the overall should be a bit of a moving upwards for this. But again, I don't know much about this project, not financial advice. Again, whenever I get asked for some of these coins, which are things I don't really know too much about, I could be completely blissfully unaware. But also as well, really nice green dot there for support. But anyway, when I don't know much about the project, I don't really know if it's one of these ones where it's like, okay, cool. It's one of these projects where it's like pretty bad or anything, and it's had the pump, and it's had the dump, and it's never going to recover. But it's been around since basically about a year and a month ago-ish. So it's been around for a decent amount of time. I don't know what the market cap is. I don't know anything really about it. Apparently the technical is still saying sell. That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't know about that. I don't think sell or anything. But again, going back to the volume candle on not this crap. Again on daily, you can see this is actually pretty good. Again, these are really good recommendations. Again, really good sell, really good buy. Bring us back. You could probably get out here. Probably get out. I mean, again, this is just one of these ones where it just actually pumps. Actually, I have been blissfully unaware of something potentially critical. Actually, have I? No, I haven't. I haven't. But there's potentially it's not. Never mind. Ignore what. Okay, no. I saw this round. I was like, oh my god, we could be in for something brilliant here. I was thinking like, oh yeah, boom, look at that, boom, bring us up. Where's this bring us to? Boom, back up to here, 70 cents, sorted. I don't know though. I don't know about that. The height of the cup is just like not good at all. Hey, you never know. Anyway, I need to move on. I'm sorry. I've spent so long. What's the ticker name for this token? I've looked at this before, haven't I? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's Thai. Right, okay. I think I did this chart. So what's going on here? This was a terrible long. Okay, this was a really messy chart as well. Let's see what went wrong. Okay, so we had this. This was really nice. And then we didn't follow through with it. And then we got stopped out. Where was this? What time frame? It's 1st of July. So it wasn't really anything external. It was just probably just a really bad trade. So my fault. Delete that very slowly. Okay, cool. So let's have a look. What's going on now? So again, really good. So this line was pretty good support. I don't know if we already had this. Already, actually, no. To be fair, this was actually a pretty bad trade. Oh, I thought that was good actually. I mean, yeah, we see you can see on the volume as well, like a really high volume. And again, the response on the volume, it must have been complete sell. So it was probably a big sell out of it, which is unfortunate. So okay, support, bam, support. Decent resistance, obviously. Again, lines. I like drawing areas more than lines because it does help to give a bit more of a general thing. But again, you can probably see kind of a gulfing order block there. Boom, resistance. Flip, support, good. I'm gonna delete this line actually, 'cause it's a bit ugly. And then obviously we saw resistance here and then resistance here. So a good range of resistance there. Could potentially have something here. Boom, support, resistance. So boom, it looks like we're at resistance line here. I don't like these lines. The lines are ugly. I would like to remove them, but I don't think I can. Actually, maybe could have got something here, which actually gives us the midline and the top line. Perfect. All right, boom. We've got a good. Okay, we've got good things here. Come on. Give me these lines, man. There we go. All right, there we go. So, okay, this is good. So resistance near the midline, support off this midline. Boom, actually flipped it. Resistance, obviously resistance at this midline, printing at the bottom. Actually flipped it again. So again, obviously this is 4 hours. So if you're not going to come back pretty much immediately to test it, you're not going to do it. Flips it, support, bang, flipped it again. But we haven't really. We've done more of a test of support. We haven't come to the midline, so I'm concerned about this order block not being used as support properly and flipping it. But again, we've had a good pump and a good dump, actually. Or good dump and then a good pump. Again, comparing what's happened elsewhere in the market, we had that dump and we had that pump. So this is following nicely. But again, the whole market of Solana, Ethereum, or maybe, yeah, Ethereum kind of, obviously, mainly Bitcoin and Solana, actually, we had these kind of rough expanding triangles, and we were bringing it up, and we were going up in the price. But then if you look at what we're actually doing, when we didn't really do any of that. So it doesn't necessarily have to follow the market, which is obviously a good thing. It can do its own thing. Which means we could have potential for, a movement downwards in the price, and it not necessarily have to follow what the market's doing. So we could probably have a look at seeing what's going on. So we can see high amount of volume for a candle body, which is very similar to the next one. So could expecting moving downwards. Again, you can also see low amount of volume of sell, a decent amount of movement downwards. Obviously, I'm not saying we're going to immediately print this and we're going to dump all the way, but the response of volume is pretty crazy. So it means there's a lot of sell, not a lot of buy, which suggests to me we're a good point of resistance. We could be looking to reverse and come down a bit. Where can we go? Well, we definitely know for sure that 12.5 cent is a good place of support here. Oh, actually, I should probably look at the chat, actually. Mike, we need time, imagine. Yeah. Great to hear, thank you. Actually, yeah, there's more questions. I'm sorry, you know what? I'm really neglecting the chat. I really do apologise. I really do apologize. But anyway, yeah, so you can see the response. Okay, again, this was a good resistance line. You can see by here, especially printing here, kind of wicking here. But we do have this midline of resistance. So we could maybe follow it of this support, but I think we will break down. I do definitely think we'll break down. Again, similar situation though, with this candle. So you can see this candle, obviously a big wick, however, let me remove this line actually. There we go. So, big volume, very small candle, as opposed to, smaller volume, but big candles. So there's something going on here. There's a bit of uncertainty in the market. There's a bit of an anomaly, and obviously, a high amount, obviously not necessarily fully sell, but a high amount nonetheless. And then we just came down. So unfortunate, but we can bring that over to where we are right now, and we can compare what's going on. So I definitely think we might bounce again, but we are putting in higher highs, which is a good thing. So we maybe could put in a higher low, potentially, but you can see as we print higher high, here, and here, we don't actually necessarily have higher lows in that regard, because we obviously had the low here, printing here though, but the low here, and then this low here, but printing here, and this is actually lower, and then now we're coming up. So we don't necessarily have to have higher lows either. So we could potentially come back down to here. If not, a less of a bet would be this order block. A very good support though. That's the thing. It's a very, very good support. So we could come down to maybe 15 cents. 15 cent could be a good one. If we go look at the vertical candles quickly, just to see. Actually, we haven't really. Again, came to the middle of it. Didn't necessarily fully fill it, which don't always have to do. Interesting here though. Bounced off the top line, but the midline has some orders. But this is a very small candle. Again, this is a very small candle. But again, in these scenarios, you can see it on this red candle, for example. Really, really, really big red candle. Filled half of it, and obviously came down, did our thing. But we eventually came back and filled it. And then we came to the same area, and then we bounced because we filled it all with more sell. So if you go back to the 4 hour, we filled it all. What could happen? We bounce, fill the rest of it, coming probably maybe towards this lower end, and then coming up again to print a higher high. So I think there's potential for, like, something like this or something. This could be some sort of, expanding, I don't know, thing. You can see technically boom, 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 kind of comes up. Okay, that's not very good actually, because actually no, this is a symmetrical triangle, so this could be a boom, 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 either print up or print down. Considering what the market might do, I think it might pump up. So what we could do, we have a big retractment and then a pump, potentially. But again, paying attention to where the buys may be, really high buy, we could potentially come down to this area, sweep it, shibooing, come up, sorted. Let's look at the really high time frame. Let's look at the daily. It has it down here. Again, you can see it comes to the midpoint, but it comes to about 10 cent. Would we come to here? I don't know. I don't think so. You can see we had a good double bottom, not bring us up to here. And again, paying attention to the fact that okay, so basically, double bottom, printed a potential area where we had a lot of leftover buys, came up to this candle, which had a lot of potential sells, filled it, and then obviously you can see when we filled it here, we came down a bunch, but now we're coming up again, because what happened was, we continued to go down, filled this one, and now we're coming up. So what could happen? We could fill the rest of this, which would give us our wick. Actually, because we filled more of it. I'm going to say 8 hour. Okay, it's not there on the 8 hour. But you can see, like, we filled a bit of it. We filled more of it. Could be reversing. Could fill more of this. Back at 12 cent, which is similar to the bottom of where we already had. And then go back up. Filling the rest of this. Probably not enough. Filling the rest. Maybe coming up then. In that scenario. So you can see that area, which was, like, over here, is this bottom. So that bottom lines up with the rest of the buy we potentially have. So I think we could come back to here, fill up the buy, which is also where this candle is. More buy, coming up, either coming back up to this area, or coming up to finish off where the double top is. So that's what I think. I think we come down and come up. Anyway, okay, I should probably give some price points, actually. I think about, 12.5 cents, and then coming up towards 20 to 21 cents. Which obviously would coincide with how long it may take for Saturday to occur. This is the 4 hour, so we could have some wicks down. And then coming into Saturday, as the news comes out, we could pump, which gives us the rest of our double bottom. And then as we print. So you can see, we could have a bit, boom, 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 God candle, bang, all the way up to the rest of this up here. And then probably coming back maybe to this trend line towards about 16 cent and then continuing. But again, we could potentially have some sort of really trash, kind of like a really trash, I don't know, that's theorizing, but that's what I think. Anyway, let me move on. I need to do cast. Oh my god, I'm so late. Oh my god. All right. You know what? These trades have been awful lately. Jesus. Wow. That is really bad. But to be fair though, because this was actually a really good cup and handle, and then we didn't follow through, which is really unfortunate. Because it should be the height of this, following through with this, which actually, to be fair, oh no, it does go. It goes from neckline, doesn't it? Yeah, it should be up here. This should be the finish movement. But to be fair though, to be fair to this, we've had our thing, we've done this, we've bounced off trend line, and now we're coming up. So we could eventually break this. Saturday could allow us to break this, which could bring us up. Actually, I don't know if we'll do this, because wasn't there a really big amount of negativity on Casper, which is external influence on price. So I don't know if we'll do that. I actually don't know. Drink some water. Yeah, these trades have been awful, man. Jesus Christ. But, again, going back to the idea, bouncing off trend, coming up. So we could do it. But I swear there was something external from Cast. The problem is I've hidden the oh, here it is. Okay, maybe not. But I swear, I think Mike says something. Maybe you guys can remember for me. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly, but I think it might stop us from actually exceeding this price, because I think it was like really bad. But if obviously Saturday flips us, boom, hopefully finish through with this cup and handle coming up. But again, I don't know. Let's look at the vector candles. Let's look at the vector candles, see what's going on. So what happened? Obviously. Oh, this is really, really good. Look at that. So, a lot of vector candle, really, really good. Blue means 150% additional volume. We can see, look at this volume. High volume, really good candles. What do? We came to here. This is perfect. This is a perfect thing. Filled up all this, kind of buy, basically. Fill up all this buy, and then continued onwards. Printed more of these candles. What have we done? Obviously, okay, well, this wick was lower than, this blue one here. But in general, you can see the prints. We printed where this candle stops, filling up this buy and continuing. However, we don't really have a lot left. But again, to be fair, we didn't actually really flip a sell or anything. Maybe if I go to the 4 hour, we'll see some sell or something like that. Not particularly. Obviously, sell there, boom there. We didn't really do that. We had this here. We failed this. Do we have anything where we have right now? Oops. Whoops. Well, we don't really have anything, do we? It's kind of unfortunate. What does weekly say? Interesting. Okay. This is very interesting. So you can see what happened on the weekly. Really big buy. Filled up the entire buy, which is good. Obviously, this was... Okay, so I know these are equal high and low. However... This was a high amount of volume because we had to come down and fill this all, but we're still in a bullish trend. So we filled up all this buy, and now we're exceeding this sell. So it either means we dump at, or we bounce off 19, or we've just got a ton of buy, a ton of buy which was kind of left standing, bringing us up, breaking us up over the weekly. This is so this might take a while. So that says Monday. So we could break up within the candle we're in, up towards the higher areas. You can see money flows coming up, which is good. Not really arcing. Obviously, V-Up's kind of coming down. Really, really running the risk here on the momentum. But if I zoom out, actually, have a look. Could have some sort of a bearish divergence. You see price go up, this go down, we come down, we dump. But we'll see. Again, Saturday. I think I'll just pay attention to Saturday. But again, we filled up all these buys, so we could potentially continue onwards, excluding this sell. Again, same thing here though. This was the exact same thing. This was a high amount of sell. Obviously, this was good. A lot of buy. Obviously, coming up here, bouncing off a arbitrary resistance line. Came down to here. Obviously, made a huge amount of sells to come fill this buy. Filled the buy, as you can see. We basically came right to the bottom of the buy. Huge amount of buy. Came up, filled this. Had a bit of a downwards movement, but there was more buy than sell, so we came up. This had more buy than sell. So now we should, in theory, come up. So we could exceed this. And if we exceed this line, it means we're following through with the cup and handle, which means we should follow through with bang coming up to the rest of the cup and handle. That's my theory. Yeah, that's my theory. So we'll see. We will see. Anyway, I've finally finished. Has it taken me 30 minutes to do 3 coins? That is atrocious. I apologise. I'm going back to Bitcoin. I don't even know if Drop Dead's still here or Devil's Right. I don't even know if you're still here. Hopefully you are. All right. What's my TA? Actually, do I still have the black box? Okay, I'll just redraw it again. Okay, that's the black box. Let me go back to your questions. Let me bring them up on my main screen so I can actually see. Okay, TA, perfect. So I can answer your questions now. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me write them down. Okay, let me write them down just so I have them in front of me. Make sure. So copy paste all these like that. All right, okay, because like the comments are like my monitor's like over there, and the comments are really small on my screen, so it's quite hard for me to see like a lot of text. So let me bring this notepad. So the first question was, the Trump speech pump is already priced in. Some crypto influencers said it is. What do you think? And would it be possible to sell the news event? I think a lot. Yeah. Okay. So I think a lot of the rumors were. So they've got about 200,000, 210. I think it's 210,000 Bitcoin from the Silk Road thing. They just confiscated the entire thing. It's like, oh, that's ours now, which is funny. But I think the rumors were it was about. I think they'd planned to put 800,000 Bitcoin in reserve. I don't know exactly what it is, but they plan to put. Or Mike told me I think the guessing is it's about 800,000, which is crazy. But all we know is that we think he plans to, or I think he plans to. I can't remember where this came out. He plans to basically mention about the Bitcoin reserve that he wants America to have as a whole, which is going to be gigantic for Bitcoin, if not crypto as a whole. It's going to be huge. So in terms of, is it priced in? And would it be possibly be sell the news event? Well, this comes into my black box theory, or my black box kind of explanation, which kind of coincides with what happens a lot with news. Like if you trade CPI data or any data in that regard, is what always happens is, oh yeah, CPI data is good, bang bang, or it's bad, bang bang. You know what I'm saying? 1 million total, Mike said today. Yeah, so yeah, a huge amount. So if they've already got 210, it's about 790 to about 800,000 Bitcoin they want in reserve, which is massive, huge. It's going to be gigantic for Bitcoin. That is the most like boiled down version of an economic move up. You don't have to do any TA for that. That is literally pure. Actually, let me check the Binance chat because I haven't done that in ages. All right, there's nothing going on. Okay, cool. So, yeah, 200k they have, so buy 800k, exactly. So, okay, so black box theory and the ideology of just trading news, basically, trading news as a whole. Now, obviously, this isn't every single news, and I'm not saying this might happen this time, but what happens quite often when you trade news, it's happened with the Bitcoin ETF. A ton of people got liquidated because the big people, they know this. They know this stuff happens. They know everyone's going to be longing because of this news, this estimated news. Obviously, buy the rumor, sell the news. You buy before stuff gets rowdy. So what happens is you buy here, the price does this. The price does this, and you're up. That's what normally probably happens. Again, Bitcoin ETF, great example of this. I'm not going to go back to it, combo, but it was like pumping, ETF, this, that, the other. And then it came out, everything came out, boom, dump. CPI data does the same thing all the time. CPI data is good, you dump, and then you pump. It happens a lot. Everyone kind of precurses it again, buy the rumor, sell the news. It's basically that explanation, and it happens all the time. So that's what I'm saying with the black box. In the theory that obviously buy the rumor, sell the news. You just buy the rumor, you'll end up profitable after it has the dump and the pump. But you can trade the dump and the pump if you understand what's going to happen. So if the estimation and the understanding is that he's going to say this on Saturday, then it's kind of understood that you should just buy this. Or you can trade the short because you know there's going to be a big short. Because obviously market maker ideology, if there's... It goes back to vector candles. Or not vector candles, but if you have rapid movement of volume, there's going to be a lot of buy left over and a lot of liquidity left over. So it's going to draw back the price to fill these candles and then continue onwards. So, yes, I think it's sell the news. Obviously, don't quote me on this. Don't take this in regard. Be careful. But I think we're going to have a bit of a dump before the pump. And my explanation and my price areas were, if we go back to it and load up these vector candles, it was about this. It was this candle right here is perfect. We haven't come back to test it in the slightest. I think we come towards about 66.5, which also coincides with where we have some order block here. We come back to here, boom, do this, and then we come up towards 69k in this area onwards, breaking out the things, this, that, the other. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, pretty much yes, I agree with you. Do order blocks have to be perfectly uniform? There's two types of order blocks. Let me go to a fresh chart. Problem is, I have so much tier on Bitcoin, on just different charts, random charts, that I have to just go to random ones. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Alright, let's just delete this, whatever. Come on. Alright, boom. So, order blocks have to be uniform. So there's two types of order blocks. Let me try to find this. Actually, okay, this is a good one. Potentially. Okay, that's not very good, actually. I don't like that one. Obviously, it's going to take some time to find some. So, so there's engulfing order blocks. This one's a good one. Engulfing order blocks. They don't have to necessarily be completely uniform. Engulfing order blocks are when you have in this case, a bullish order block, a move up and a move down directly. And the result of this is, this... Whoops. Whoops. There we go. The result of this, obviously, you kind of have this equal candles. Really, really equal. And then you produce these order blocks, which obviously, once you go up, you can see test support. This is quite low, though, so I don't think we've been here, obviously. But this will be a good support point, nonetheless. Now, again, they don't always have to be completely uniform. Obviously, this was also probably a decent one. Obviously, not all of them are perfect. This is a decent one as well, you can see. Had the pump. And obviously, came to it, resistance. But again, we were in a really good scenario. We were deeply oversold in every, in most regards. So, we pumped it. But you can see, we went past it. And then what happens? This is really important if you want to trade order blocks. There's something called an order block. And there's something called a breaker block, or a mitigation block, depending on what you want to call it. Look them up, because I'm not the most perfect person who talks about it, but you want to make sure that when you flip it to something called a breaker block, which is basically the opposite of an order block, well, it's the same thing as order block, but on the opposite end, you have to test off the midpoint. And then once you do that, you then use it as support. So that's one thing, and the idea that it has to be completely uniform. Not necessarily. So, for example, over here, again, this is a really good order block here. Really, really good order block. But this is also a decent order block right here. Obviously, this helped to coincide for this. Here you go. So, boom. This big one, you can see we printed another order block, but you can also see we bounced off the midline here. And if I shimmy back, you can see we bounced off the midpoint here. Bounced off the midpoint here. Obviously, both of them line up, but you can see bouncing off the bottom line, bouncing off the bottom line. So they don't have to be completely full. But it's if you have a big green candle, and then you have a nearly equal and opposite red candle, would be a good bearish one. Like in this case, this is a good one. Not fully equal, pretty close though. Really, really, actually very good. Really good order block here. Here as well, not too uniform. Good order block. What happens? Let me draw it properly. We printed below the midline, obviously testing above. So you could either test the top of it, or you can print below the midline. So they don't always have to be uniform. This is obviously probably a good example as well. You can see here, this is a good order block. This is not uniform in the slightest, but you can see midpoint, obviously tested here again, midpoint. Came back to it, obviously really deep sell. This was crazy sell. midpoint test, print above the midpoint, resistance, resistance. So they don't have to be fully uniform. I'm gonna delete all these now though. So the other thing is order blocks. They can be something else. There's the engulfing order blocks, and then let me see if I can find one. There's the normal order block. This might be one. I'm not too sure. Might be pretty good. Here we go. So this is a normal order block as well. Actually, is it? It's not very good. Again, it's the same scenario as. Okay, actually, those are the same. Actually, to be fair. Let me try. I'm not gonna be able to find one. Okay, basically, you know what? Look it up. I'll show you what I mean. So this candle right here. Obviously, this is an engulfing order block, but this candle right here is also going to be an order block. Here as well. This weak line. Actually, here's the screenshot. These are order blocks. You can see this wick here. Obviously, it says no takeout. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be. But these are good order blocks here, where it's one candle. So those are order blocks as well. But I normally use the engulfing order blocks. They work. They both work. If you recognize it, you recognize it. If you don't, you don't. It's not the end of the world, because you can find a lot of order blocks. You can find a lot of engulfing order blocks. You can find a lot of the other one. So the last question before I end, because this is crazy. Or is it considered? Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, this is actually a good question. Fine. This won't take too long. Is this considered an order block if the green or red candle are a little higher or lower compared to the others? Well, it's basically the same question, or same answer to the second one, which is they have to be perfectly uniform, because it's a carry on with the same. It's the carry on of the second question. So, like I said, no, they don't necessarily have to. So this. Okay, this isn't going to be one, but you could test. You could test it, but. These, this might be one over here. You can see here. This could be a good order block, but again, it's not perfect. But you can see we formed it, support, flip below, resistance, flipped it, obviously resistance or support. Sorry, support on midline. Again, they work better when they're more uniform, and they work better when they're more perfect. But they don't. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not an order block in the slightest if they're not completely uniform. But anyway, I'm ending the stream. I'm sorry, it's been like an extra hour. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm not even going to put it on the intro screen. I'm just going to end it right now. Thank you. I'll see you next time.